Hey everybody, I'm ABC13's Chauncy Glover, and you're watching The Real Deal with Akil.
That was perfect. That was perfect. That was perfect.
It really was.
Real Deal with Akil. Back with another episode. This time with three-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, the anchor of ABC13, Chauncy Glover, is in the God Dog building. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks. How you
A
doing?
fellow NABJ member.
That's
I didn't even
it.
know you was an NABJ. I mean, we talked about that. I didn't even know you was there. I was there like the last 3 years.
Yeah, NABJ actually, we're talking about my project today, the Chauncy Glover Project. 2 years ago, NABJ gave me the a community award, the Angelo B. Henderson Community Award for the work we do.
Oh, wow, congrats.
So I never miss NABJ, or try not to.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that project too a little bit later on the show. But I want to get back to like your history.
Yeah.
So you've been anchoring since the age of 6. Like you had the love for anchoring at that age.
I did. It was weird. So my parents told me this is something I've always wanted to do ever since
Right.
I was a little kid, and they identified that, and thankfully they nurtured that, put me in speaking and speech lessons and public speaking lessons, and my dad built me a little anchor desk, and
Right.
after Sunday church, I would sit down with the family and do a little mock newscast and all that. So just something I always have wanted to do, and when I tell people I'm living my dream, I'm literally I am living my dream, because ever since I was a kid, this is all I can remember doing. This, and of course theater and acting. That's all I wanted to do.
And you started off. You didn't start off in Houston. You started off somewhere else.
Yeah. My first
was it-
job was in Columbus, Georgia.
Right.
Yeah. Then, of course, in TV news, you bounce around
Yeah.
until you get to the big markets. But I started off in Columbus, Georgia, then moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and then Detroit, and now I'm here in Houston.
Cause what college you went to? Troy.
Troy, yeah.
Troy University.
Troy University.
Was they big on journalism over there?
They were. So it's a huge journalism department. I won't say huge, but it's not a lot of students. But it's the education there is huge. They have a good program, and that focuses on the broadcast side. Like we have a TV station. We do news. We have different shows that we do, and it's all student ran.
Right.
Troy University, great college. Loved my experience there, and they taught me all about TV news.
And when you was in college, how much sacrificing you had to do to get to the point you at now? Because I know in journalism, you had to sacrifice something.
Yeah. Well, not so much in college, but when you get out and get your job, there's a lot you do sacrifice. Being a public figure, being an anchorman or a news reporter, being somewhat on TV every day, and being that community figure. There's certain things you can't do, certain
Right.
things you got to give up, and then with the schedule. TV news is nonstop. So
Right.
you may have a vacation plan, but a story breaks, a big story, breaking news story, and you gotta go to the story. So it's a lot of sacrifices. But I tell young journalists or people who are aspiring to be journalists that it takes a special person, especially nowadays because of the climate of news and so much happening. You have to definitely have the heart for it and be invested in it.
I know when you said that you could see yourself doing it since the age of 6, but when was that point that you said, okay, I do belong as one of the top anchors, not only in the state of Texas, but in the nation?
It's so crazy. So I remember my mom, who was very overzealous.
Right.
She would stop the news people in the vans and make them pull over
Yeah.
and show me the inside. And she did that one time. And I remember looking in the van, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. This is what I want to do,
Right.
So it happened for me young, knowing that is exactly what I wanted to do. But when I started as a working journalist in Columbus, Georgia, and also in Jacksonville, and I learned the power of my words, the power of my stories, because news and TV news, television, once you put something out there, it's out there.
Right.
So you have to understand that. You have to watch everything you say and how you say it and what you put out.
Right.
So when I started to see that, hey, I can say something, and it could make an impact. It could change someone's life. It could change someone's perception of something. It could educate someone. It could heal someone.
Right.
It could warn someone. In Columbus, like my second year, that's when the light bulb was like, okay, all right, this is where I belong.
And I know you said too in your bio that you covered the Sandy Hook shooting.
Yeah.
How was that? How was that experience?
That was draining. I was there in Sandy Hook for an entire week, and it was when you go on scenes, there's a lot of commotion, a lot of chaos. News people there, the producers are talking, the photographers are getting set up, the cameras are being set in place, and there's a lot going on. You're trying to get information. All the reporters are pounding the pavement, but Sandy Hook was a bit different. It was this calmness. It was this eerie feeling. It was just this feeling of, when you're talking about that many children and the scene and what happened, people just we didn't want to talk about it, and it was just a different feeling from most big breaking news scenes that I've been on.
Right. Did you cover the Santa Fe shooting as well too?
I covered the Santa Fe shooting as well.
So can you compare and contrast just on the cover standpoint?
It was a little different. Yeah, some aspects were the same or were similar, but it was different because number one, in Sandy Hook, you had more people killed, and I say people, but we're talking about children. These are children who were in an elementary class, learning the basics, and an adult, for whatever reason, wants to go and just kill little innocent lives like that. Like, nobody could understand it. And not saying that the teenagers or the older students' lives, did not matter in the Santa Fe shooting, but it was just on two different levels. But the point is, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 23 or 10, as we saw there in Santa Fe, if it's senseless, it's senseless.
Right.
And so that's one thing that's definitely true within both of them.
Have you talked to anybody covering these school shootings, Santa Fe or Sandy Hook, that say, okay, when is going to be a time when they're going to have higher security at these schools?
Let me tell you, we talk about it every time. Every time we have another school shooting, we'll hear about local school leaders coming up with different ways to protect their children, to protect the students, and then we'll see another one, and then you'll do the same thing. I personally think we're going to have to start locking these schools down, no matter what side of town you're on, whether it's a high crime area or whether it's a nice school out in the suburbs. I think the climate that we are in today, they are going to have to do a more strategic, a more boisterous job, and it's sad that we've come to that, but I think we need metal detectors at every single school, and you need to be checking those students as they go in.
I say the same thing
because it's happening. I mean, not only is it happening, it's like, and it's sad, but I tell people, for every one, there's going to be another one. The trend, and it just keeps happening and happening and happening. And, of course, the schools are common, but, it's happening. You had the movie theaters, we had the concerts, so we've got to do more to combat that, and to also make sure we protect our children who are doing what they should be doing in school learning. And you shouldn't have to worry about, whether I'm going to go to school and, die, or whether I'm going to make it back home or not.
Right. And I also read that you said in one story you would never forget that you were sent on breaking news to a school where 2 students had been shot by a coach after they tried to rob him.
Yeah. So
Jesus Christ, Chauncy.
Yeah. So two students at MLK High School in Detroit, they tried to rob the basketball coach there.
And they played on the team.
No, not two basketball players. It was just the coach. The coach was coming out. It was later at night. The coach was coming out from practice, walking to his truck, and according to police, the 2 students tried to rob him. So they found one of the students, and they rushed him to the hospital. They couldn't find the other suspect, but he had shot. Both of them had been shot. The coach had a gun on him and shot both of them. And I'm getting ready for my newscast, about to do the breaking news and getting mic'd up and all of that. And I look over in the median, and there's something in the median, and it's that second suspect. It's a teenage boy, and he's been shot, and he's in the ditch, and he's literally dying. And I just felt so helpless. I could not do anything, and I felt very bad, and I couldn't get his face and what happened, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. And I ended up having a chance to speak with his mother, and I interviewed his mother, and she told me, Chauncey, he wasn't a bad kid. He just got caught up in the wrong crowd. She said, I did what I could. I couldn't show him more. She's like, he knew the streets. His daddy knew the streets. His cousins knew the street. This is what he was around. So that's what inspired me to actually start the Chauncey Glover Project. I went back to his school, and I talked to the principal, and I asked for his friends. I said I would like to mentor his friends to keep them from going down that same path. And that's what I did. And then it kept going and snowballed into a 501c3. And here I am in my 5th year. I was 3 years in Detroit. And this is my 2nd year having the organization in Houston.
Yeah, and talk more about that, about the project as well.
So it's a hands-on mentoring organization. We mentor young men who need that extra push. A lot of our kids don't have male role models, positive role models in their lives. A lot of them, their dads may be in jail, or they don't have a good relationship with their dads. A lot of single moms, even some kids being raised by grandmom. But we have empowerment sessions every other weekend, and we teach them everything from public speaking, how to dress for success. We do Gentleman 101, where we teach them about chivalry and social media etiquette, financial responsibility. But one of the greatest aspects that I like about the program is our go to high school, graduate, and go to college program that we have for our gents, which are our seniors. So we provide that pathway. We're there in the beginning. We tutor them. We get their ACT scores up. We're identifying where they want to go to college. We're reaching out to those colleges. We're applying for scholarships. We do the FAFSA for them. And we literally do everything to make sure these boys are accepted into college, they go to college, and that they have tuition paid for when they go.
Right. And was there any compelling stories that the students had this year?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were on another show earlier today and talking with one of our students, Quentin Haynes. Quentin Haynes is he graduated from Westfield High School.
Okay.
And just an exceptional young man. He was homeless. He and his family, his mom, and his 2 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters. And he told me the story about remembering sleeping on a park bench in the park, and his mom sort of holding him and making sure his brothers and sisters were okay. And he had to stay up sometimes just to watch and make sure nobody was, doing anything crazy and, trying to, cause any harm to them. And you're homeless, and you sleep, as he says, under the stars. And he would wake up off the park bench, and they would load up in in mom's PT Cruiser, and she would drop him off at school, pick him up. They would go wherever, whatever, and end the night back sleeping on that bench.
And it's always every year around the same time?
The gala?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
the Black Tie Gala and the project is 2 different things.
Right. Well, the Black Tie Gala is it's a fundraiser for the organization.
Gotcha.
So the program we pick them up. We just accepted our 2nd class, our 3rd class, but we're about to graduate our 2nd class. So it kind of runs into each other. So we work with them a year. So the boys that we will send to college next year, we just accepted them, and we'll be working with them all throughout the summer, all throughout the school year, and then they'll graduate next May, and then we'll have our gala for them in June. So the group right now that just graduated and that we're going to celebrate in the gala, we've been working with them for an entire year, and all of them have been accepted into college.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I seen too the people that you have for awards, like Adrian Peterson is as far as that. So how do you pick the people for each one? Each category?
I work with we do nominations. I also work with the students, and I try to get people who are really in line with what we value with the Chauncey Glover Project, of course, which we value our youth, and especially our young men. And we want to make sure that we honor those who are aligned in that, and making sure that we are changing that next generation. So I know Adrian Peterson, for instance, he does a lot of work within the Sunnyside Third Ward community. He just
Yeah.
did a crime walk. We know he's really big into child literacy. So those are the people we want to highlight because we know the importance of making sure that our young people have good resources, that our young people are mentored, and that our young people have positive role models. Because we talk about the plight of the young black male these days. We talk about the shootings that we've seen, and we talk about what's going on all across the country, the division, and in the matter of black in the environment of in the time of Black Lives Matter. I take a different approach. Not that I think anything is wrong with the Black Lives Matter, but
Yeah.
at some point we have to stop marching and we have to do something. At some point we have to stop making these signs and
Yeah.
waiting on the next.
It never get past stage one.
Never get. So my thing is, and my goal is to raise up another generation. And these young men who are coming up now, I think we have to empower them, educate them, make sure they go to college so they can be police chiefs. They can be judges. So when these cases come across, into their courtroom, they know they have a special connection to it. And also I think there's an opportunity for us to really, really change the paradigm when it comes to race, in our world. It's not so much us. We can do some things, but I think it's this next generation that we have to empower to get them on the right track. Because if you don't, it's just a never-ending cycle that keeps going and going.
Exactly.
And we'll keep seeing more and more.
Same results.
Yeah.
Who else you gonna have in attendance?
Oh, so we have a lot of local celebrities who will come, and local leaders. The parents of the boys come, and the community members. We've gotten it out, and tickets are still on sale if you guys want to go out and get tickets. But so a lot of some more of our honorees. Monica and Darian and Monica Lewis from the School of Etiquette, the Monica Lewis School of Etiquette. They do a lot of corporate teaching, and they teach a lot of young people the importance of proper etiquette, meaning your table etiquette and social media etiquette. You'd be surprised, and they do come in and they do a session with our boys. You'd be surprised how many young people don't know, just the proper handshake.
Right.
Don't know what to wear to a certain job interview.
Right.
So even our young men, they come to us. A lot of them don't know how to tie a tie. I personally think every young man needs to know how to tie a tie.
I just learned 3 years ago.
At least you know.
I learned on YouTube. I learned how to tie a tie. I was struggling at first, Chauncy, but now I got it down packed. I'm teaching other people how to tie a tie.
Right. There you go. You have to come teach my boys. Give them some good lessons.
But I see the list right here. So you have Adrian Peterson for the You Are Fearless Award. Then Dr. Ralph Douglas.
Yep.
Sean Taylor, Darian Monica Lou, like you said, Warren Luckett, Marcus Bars. I see one local celebrity's missing. I'm missing on that list, Chauncy. Why I'm not on this list? What is going on?
We'll have to see next year. We can get you on the list
2019.
after you have done some stuff with some local youth.
Oh, I do local youth stuff all the time. I used to be a camp counselor at the YMCA a couple of years. I was a camp counselor at TSU's camp. They had
so you got it. So
three-time.
Maybe you can get right in. We can write you in.
Yeah, dude, write me in for this year. But then 2019, I want to be imprinted.
Gotcha.
On the
gotcha. Right there on the red carpet. I got you.
So I see you're an actor as well. You do acting?
I studied theater, and if I wasn't a news anchor, a news reporter, I would more than likely be in LA acting or something.
Right.
But yeah, I like the creative side to that. I just never had the guts though to just break off and go out there and wait tables and just audition and be that starving artist. I'm like, I need a constant paycheck.
Yeah,
and,
I feel on that one.
So I just never. I don't know. Then I just had a great love for journalism and writing and telling stories and so I think I am where God wants me to be.
Would you still do like a role? Somebody came to you, hey?
Oh, in a minute.
Yeah.
And sometimes I still toil with that. Sometimes I say, okay, how long am I going to be in TV? Am I going to, and I'll be 33 this summer, so I'm like, okay, what's the next move? Do I go and head on to LA and still do the acting stuff and see if that'll happen for me? But yeah, so yeah, that's what I grew up doing. My parents, and I'm thankful for great parents who made sure that I participated in theater classes and drama lessons and all that, and I got to be in plays and they made me go to church and go
Yeah.
to these different churches and do performances with different things. So,
Right.
so yeah, I like the creative side to acting and writing and all of that.
So what's next for you? I know you're still gonna be at ABC doing your thing over there. So what else you have in store with the project and then everything else?
Right now, I'm just trying to get through this. It is so much work.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get through this big fundraiser, our Black Tie Gala next Friday at the Hobby. I'm trying to get through that, and after that, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to
Yeah.
take some rest, and then of course it's right back to work with ABC13.
So where can people get tickets for the Black Tie Gala?
You can go to any of my social media pages. I'm Chauncy on TV on Instagram, or Chauncey Glover on Twitter, as well as Facebook. But you can go to the Hobby Center, their website, and search for the Chauncey Glover Project event, and you can buy your tickets right there online.
So this year you're gonna be attending NBJ, right? Detroit.
Yes, I will be in Detroit.
And you told the story how somebody got robbed in Detroit. Was that downtown or was that on the outskirts?
It was right downtown.
It was right downtown where the hotel, the NBJ Convention Center is going to be.
But Detroit sometimes gets a bad rap. I love Detroit.
Yeah.
I love that city. And now they've done so much
Right.
in that city. Downtown is booming. It's safer there in many areas. So it's not the Detroit that you may be used to or you heard about, or the Detroit that you see depicted.
I don't want to have to, I don't want to go out there, get some type of weapon just for self-defense. I don't want to get robbed with my suit on.
But listen, in Houston, you go to some areas, it's just as bad. Let's tell you.
I'm from Mo City,
Right.
so
Right.
we already know how it go down over there. You have to come from the slum, have to come from the dirt, from the ground up in Mo City.
Right.
And them Stafford, Sugarland. It's tough out there, Chauncy. It do. So it gets tough. But I don't want to, Detroit should be a good one. Detroit should be a good NBJ.
Yeah, it will. I mean, I think people are eager to see Detroit because there's a new Detroit out there. And I think people are eager to see it, and it's also in a predominantly African American city, and
Right.
you're celebrating black journalism and black journalists from across the country.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a good one. I can't
Right.
wait.
Well, two more questions before I get out of here. One, what's the advice you'll give to aspiring journalists that's in high school, middle school, college right now that's still trying to find their way?
I say prepare to work hard. Know that you're going to have to be better. You're going to have to show up to work earlier. You're going to leave later. Your teeth has to be brighter. Your tie has to look better. You have to be better. There is no room for mistakes. There's no room for mediocrity. You have to work hard. This is a field that's changing. You have to change with it. It's a huge social media component to it that you have to know in and out. You got to read. You got to be knowledgeable. You got to know how to write. You got to know how to write. You got to know how to write.
No,
There are
writing is
a lot
important.
of students that they think about the glitz and glam on TV and all of this, and they forget that no, I'm writing what I say. My stories. I write that.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I feel like some young journalists or aspiring journalists who just see the flashing lights and the cameras and they want to jump in front of the camera. But nowadays, more than ever, being a journalist, you have to be accountable and responsible and know what you're talking about.
And they forget that the people that they see on TV, they didn't start on TV.
Right.
You had to start writing,
Yeah.
probably behind the scenes, and then
Something.
get in front of the camera.
Right.
So what's the advice you give? Not advice. How important is for people that's aspiring journalists is to attend NABJ?
Oh, very, very, very important. NABJ, I tell people, I started going to NABJ in college. I went to NABJ, my first job. I got another job through NABJ. I am a firm believer in NABJ, and I try to never miss one. But every single job that most of them, that I've had, has had some type of connection to NABJ, whether I met a news director or a news manager at NABJ, and then they remembered me and got my resume reel. But it's just a great way for journalists to come together and what I call it, sharpen each other.
Right.
You get to see people and hear about what they're doing in their markets. And then I love the fact that you could go there and leave with a job possibly, or with
Yeah.
a job prospect. You can do that at NABJ. And I think now we need to have those seasoned journalists and those people who really, really know what they're talking about to critique these young people, to say, hey, no, you don't do that. And every year, that's one of my highlights. I sit down with, I run the ABC booth, and I sit down with young journalists, and they come and they show me their resume reel, and you will be surprised. I mean, some of the young ladies, the choices that they wear in dresses,
quite questionable.
Yes, as well as some of the things that the young men are wearing. And I'm glad NABJ gives us that channel to say, hey, you don't need to wear that anymore.
Right.
That's not a good look, or that's not professional, or you're not going to get another job that way.
Yeah, my reel is going to be quite different. I'm going to take the best of this podcast and send it so to people like, hey, Chauncy, what you think about this reel I have?
Yeah.
Best of. Hey, it works.
It
I seen somebody shoot last year. Quick story. A girl still in college go to Milwaukee, it's called Milwaukee in Wisconsin. I forgot what it's called, Milwaukee University. She had a list full of people, Chauncy. I'm talking USA Today, New York Times, LA News, everything. But she know how to produce, write. She don't want to be on camera, but she has to write, do photos. She's like all in one. So people that's listening, NABJ is important. Chauncy Glover, AK, Real Do With Akil, appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
We out.